long and carries forward through my mind really fast.
My wife was right next to me. We gave him a big hug. Just didn't want to let him go.
Chris Perez returns to help Bill and Troy safely descend.
We were up against the north side of that tower.
Pilot Bill Chappell and Troy Wells, the other boy in the basket, visited the tower recently for the first time in years, but it's still not an easy memory.
Kind of started thinking to myself, like, wow, we'd be a young kid on 6 o'clock news that, crash the balloon and die.
Bill can still feel that wind hitting his balloon and driving him into the tower like it was yesterday.
One of the experiences of a sudden gust of wind like that is the wind over the top of your balloon tends to force you down. It's what we call false lift, false heavy. It's like the reverse side of an airplane wing where the wind is a coil over the top of your balloon, and without a great deal of heat, you cannot overcome that in any short distance.
The experienced pilot raised the balloon's temperature to a risky 450 degrees, hoping to lift Smokey. But when they hit, he immediately switched the burner off, likely preventing the balloon from bursting into flames. He held the gondola close to the tower by wrapping his arms around a girder so the boys could get out first. Then, he used his belt to keep the balloon fastened to the tower and climb out himself. A harrowing moment with a bit of comic relief.
About that time, my cell phone rang. My wife asked me how I was, and I said, well, I'm kind of busy right now. Can I call you back?
As for Aaron, he has not flown in a balloon again since that near fatal day. And it likely won't happen anytime soon.
If he wants to get on a balloon again, he's got to wait till it's 18.
A truck driver is transferring liquid propane from an 8,000-gallon tanker truck to a nearby storage tank when a deadly white cloud escapes and spills across the foundry yard. Then, in less than a minute, the vaporized propane ignites and explodes in a furious ball of flames.
I didn't think there was much likelihood that anybody could survive a blast like that.
Fire surrounds the driver and highly flammable tanker. The heat is pushing its contents to the boiling point.
The more liquid propane in the vessel, and the higher the pressure and the higher the temperature of the liquid, the more powerful the potential levy, if it levies.
A levy is a liquid vapor explosion with a force that can blow fire that's fuel hundreds of feet in diameter. That's dangerously close to the cars whizzing by on a nearby major highway bridge. It happened at the Atlas Metal Working Foundry in Tacoma, Washington. Mike Mitchell, battalion chief of the Tacoma Fire Department, says the truck driver clearly tried to prevent the catastrophe.
Once there was a failure of the connection, the driver makes a real effort to go back inside the cab and try to turn off the vehicle.
But there's little the driver can do as physics takes over. Propane is a liquid at extremely low temperatures, minus 42 degrees Celsius or lower.
It's January 31st, 2008. It's minus 43.1 degrees Celsius.
In this outdoor experiment recorded in the Yukon, the ambient temperature is low enough for propane to remain a liquid. But when the experimenter warms the propane on a hot plate, it starts to bubble and boil, yet the temperature is still extremely cold.
We got the building at minus 43 degrees Celsius. Now I'm just going to provide it with an ignition source.
Engineering professor Michael Burke studies propane explosions by exposing propane tanks to fire at a test facility in Ontario, Canada. He says there's no doubt propane culprit in this case.